Aside from strange curses, football also has some absolutely impossible records. So today, let's take a look at all those unbreakable records in football history, while you guys are probably cooking dinner or chilling with a snack. This record belongs to Mr. GOAT himself, the man of legends. Back in 1972, Gerd Mueller created one of the most unbelievable milestones ever. He scored 85 goals in a single year, 72 for Bayern Munich and 13 for Germany. At that time, it was a number no one thought could be touched. But 40 years later, another football legend smashed that record with an even more insane number: 91 goals in a single year. That's right, Messi, the man who now loves walking and stroking his beard, was a literal machine back then. In that historic year, Messi scored 79 goals for Barcelona and 12 for Argentina, including 59 goals in La Liga across just 21 consecutive matches. That means, on average, Messi scored a goal every 3 days and 15 hours. Absolute madness. It took 40 years after Gerd Muller's miracle for anyone, Messi, to break it. So, my friends, you might have to wait another few decades before seeing that record fall again. Even in Ronaldo's craziest year, 2013, he only managed 69 goals. Speaking of Messi, we've got to talk about Cristiano Ronaldo too. CR7 is the one who broke Messi's record for the most goals in a single Champions League season. That record had stood for over 50 years. Jose Altafini from AC Milan in 1962 to 63 and Messi in 2011 to 12 both scored 14 goals. Then came the 2013-14 season, Ronaldo's craziest ever. He started with a hat-trick against Galatasaray in the group stage, then scored 9 more goals in the next 6 matches. And when it came to the knockout rounds, he didn't slow down one bit. 2 goals against Schalke, 3 against Dortmund, and 2 against Bayern in the semis. In the final versus Atletico Madrid, CR7 sealed a 4-1 win with a penalty in the 120 plus 1 minute, closing a perfect Champions League campaign with 17 goals in just 11 matches, an insane 1.54 goals per game. Even though modern football has plenty of goal machines, none have come close. Lewandowski hit 15 goals in 2019-20 and Haaland got 12 in 2019-20, 2022-23. Looks like it'll take a long while before anyone breaks that CR7 record. Lewandowski might not have broken Ronaldo's Champions League record, but he owns one of the most ridiculous records ever: 5 goals in 9 minutes. On September 23, 2015, Bayern faced Wolfsburg in the Bundesliga. By halftime, Wolfsburg were up 1-0 after Daniel Caligiuri scored in the 26th minute. Coach Pep Guardiola was furious, so in the 46th minute, he subbed out Thiago Alcantara and sent in Lewandowski to boost the attack. Even Pep didn't know he was about to witness the craziest 9 minutes of Louis's life. 51 minutes, Louis equalized. 52 minutes, he scored again. 55 minutes, he completed a hat-trick with a hammer of a strike. 57 minutes, a flying volley exploded the Allianz Arena. 60 minutes, he finished his 5th with a rocket after a classy acrobatic finish. 5 goals in just 8 minutes, 59 seconds. Unreal. Pep stood there on the sideline, mouth open, both hands on his head, completely in shock. The fans? They couldn't believe their eyes either. After the match, Guinness World Records gave Lewandowski 4 certificates. Most goals scored by a substitute in a Bundesliga match, 5. Fastest hat trick, 3 minutes 22 seconds. Fastest 4 goals, 5 minutes 42 seconds. Fastest 5 goals, 8 minutes 59 seconds. Next up, Cristiano Ronaldo again. CR7 is the only player to have scored in 5 consecutive Euro tournaments, with a total of 14 goals across Euro 2004, 2008, 2012, 2016, and 2020. He debuted at Euro 2004 at just 19 years old, scoring his first goal against Greece in the group stage. Since then, he's scored in every Euro he's played in: 2008, against the Czech Republic, 2012, twice against the Netherlands, helping Portugal reach the semi-finals, 2016, 3 goals en route to lifting the trophy despite injury in the final, 2020, 5 goals, finishing as the tournament's top scorer, even though Portugal exited in the round of 16. At Euro 2024, CR7 didn't score, but he became the first player ever to appear in 6 consecutive EUROS. To break this record, you'd basically need another Ronaldo. Someone who plays 20 years of international football, competes in 6 tournaments every 4 years, and scores in at least 5 of them. That's nearly impossible, unless Ronaldo himself decides to show up again in 2028 for one last penalty. Let's move from the Euros to the biggest stage of all, the FIFA World Cup. The man holding the record for most goals in World Cup history is Miroslav Klose from Germany, with 16 goals. He only needed 4 tournaments, from 2002 to 2014, to achieve this historic milestone. Klose wasn't flashy. He didn't have Ronaldo's speed or Messi's dribbling, but his timing, positioning, and instinct in front of goal were elite, especially in the World Cup. He made his World Cup debut in 2002, Japan-Korea, shocking the world with 5 headed goals, helping Germany reach the final. 4 years later, at Germany 2006, he did it again. 5 more goals, winning the Golden Boot. In 2010, even at age 32, he scored 4 more, pushing Germany to the semifinals. And finally, at Brazil 2014, as a veteran at 36, Klose scored his 15th goal against Ghana to equal Ronaldo Nazario's record, then his 16th in the legendary 7-1 demolition of Brazil. After lifting the World Cup trophy at Maracana, Klose retired from international football, and since then, no one has broken that 16-goal record. Messi has 13, Mbappé has 12, but if anyone's got a real shot at it, it's Mbappé. The Ninja Turtle still has a few more tournaments to go, so maybe one day he'll do it. But for now, the German machine still reigns supreme. And speaking of Mbappé, he's got a World Cup record of his own. The youngest player ever to score a hat-trick in a World Cup final. Just scoring once in a World Cup final is a dream, but scoring 3 times? That's legendary. At 24 years old, while most of us are struggling with back pain from sitting at work, Mbappé was just 23 years and 363 days old when he stepped onto the Lusail Stadium pitch in Qatar on December 18, 2022, and he made history. The entire world was watching, Messi chasing the only trophy missing from his cabinet, and Mbappé leading a new generation. It turned into one of the greatest finals ever. Argentina went up 2-0 with goals from Messi and Di Maria. By the 79th minute, it looked over. Everyone thought the script was written. But then, in just 92 seconds, Mbappé scored 2 goals, one from the spot, one from open play, shocking the world. In extra time, Messi put Argentina ahead again, but Mbappé wasn't done. In the 118th minute, he calmly buried another penalty to complete his historic hat-trick. He finished as the Golden Boot winner of the 2022 World Cup, but despite his brilliance, he could only watch as Messi lifted the trophy. Still, his performance was unforgettable, carrying France almost single-handedly to the edge of glory. Before Mbappé, only one man had ever scored a hat-trick in a World Cup final, Geoff Hurst, for England in 1966. He was 24 years old then, and helped England win the World Cup on home soil, still at the World Cup, and still with a Brazilian legend. The youngest player ever to win the World Cup? That's none other than Pelé, the king of football. In 1958, the world heard the name Edson Arantes do Nascimento for the first time, or simply Pelé, at just 17 years old. Due to injury, Pelé didn't play until the quarterfinals against Wales, but when he did, he scored the only goal of the match, sending Brazil through. Then, in the semi-final against France, he scored a hat-trick that left the world stunned. And in the final against Sweden, he added 2 more goals, sealing Brazil's first ever World Cup title with a 5-2 victory. That was the moment football changed forever. A 17-year-old kid crying in the arms of his teammates, the birth of an immortal icon. Think about it. 17 years and 249 days old, an age when most players are still at youth academies or warming the bench, Pelé carried a whole nation to glory. No player under 18 has ever played in a World Cup final since, let alone scored twice in one. Safe to say, that record is never getting broken. And speaking of Brazil, Here's another record they can proudly claim. They're the only country to have played in every single World Cup since the tournament began in 1930. While other nations have missed editions for one reason or another, Brazil has never failed to qualify, not once in nearly a century. From the early days of 13 teams to 32 and soon 48, the yellow and green have always been there, bringing the samba spirit to the biggest stage. From Pelé, Zico, Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Neymar, Vinicius, and Rodrigo, each generation has carried Brazil's identity: creative, passionate, emotional football. Brazil doesn't just play in the World Cup, they define it. With 5 World Cup trophies, 1958, 1962, 1970, 1994, 2002, Brazil also holds the record for most World Cup titles ever. They didn't just win, they shaped football itself with flair and beauty. The 1970 squad, Pelé, Jairzinho, Tostão, Rivellino, is still considered the greatest team in football history. When they won their third title, they got to keep the Jules Rimet trophy forever. From Pelé to Ronaldo to Neymar, Brazil keeps producing stars that shine brightest when it matters most. Football in Brazil isn't just a sport. It's a culture, a religion, a heartbeat. Germany and Italy follow with 4 titles each, and Argentina, after Messi's 2022 triumph, now has 3. Who knows? Maybe a new record is waiting in 2026. Still with Brazil, but this one, no fan ever wants to remember. The 2014 World Cup semifinal. Brazil 1, Germany 7. The most shocking and heartbreaking match in football history. It was supposed to be a dream. The host nation chasing glory on home soil for the first time since 1950, but instead, it turned into a nightmare that stunned the entire planet. On July 8, 2014, at Estadio Mineirão, Brazil faced Germany. Neymar was out injured, Thiago Silva suspended, but the nation still believed. Then, in just 29 minutes, Brazil's dream shattered. Germany scored 5 goals in 18 minutes, a record-breaking blitz no one could have imagined. Müller 11, Klose 23, Cruz 24, 26, Khedira 29. Each goal that was like a dagger to millions of Brazilian hearts. Germany played like a flawless machine, while Brazil looked helpless and broken. Schürrle added 2 more in the second half, and Oscar's late consolation goal at 90 made it 7-1, marking Brazil's darkest night in World Cup history. If you thought the 7-1 Brazil-Germany match was bad, wait until you hear this. 31-0. Yes, you heard that right. Australia 31, American Samoa 0-0. This insane scoreline happened during the 2002 World Cup qualifiers. Before the match even started, everyone knew there was a massive gap between the two sides. Australia were a strong Oceania team filled with pros from European leagues, while American Samoa were, well, just a few teenagers and amateurs. In fact, they had passport issues and only 2 players from their senior squad were eligible to play, so they had to call up 16 and 17-year-olds just to have enough players. Yeah, this was not going to end well. Australia went full throttle, scoring 7 goals in the first 20 minutes and ended the first half already leading 16-0. In the second half, they kept pushing and finished at 31-0. On average, they scored a goal every 3 minutes. That's basically FIFA on beginner mode. This match went straight into the Guinness World Records for the biggest scoreline in an international football match, the most goals by one player. Archie Thompson scored 13 goals in that game alone. After this humiliation, FIFA realized something had to change. They restructured the World Cup qualifying system, adding multiple preliminary rounds so that weaker teams play each other first. That's why now you see round 1, round 2, round 3 qualifiers. So we don't get results like 31-0 anymore. Now, if you thought 31-0 was already crazy, how about 149-0? And every single one of those goals was an own goal. Yup, you heard right. It happened in Madagascar in a match between AS Adema and SO Lemierre. So, what on earth happened? Well, the players from SO Lemierre were furious after a referee's decision in the previous match that cost them the championship. So, in protest, when they faced AS Adema in the final round, they decided to do something the world had never seen before. Right after kickoff, They just kept scoring own goals on purpose. Every time they restarted play, they'd boot the ball straight into their own net. Over and over again for 149 times. That's roughly one own goal every 37 seconds. Can you imagine the poor referee? Probably just standing there like, what do I even do now? The fans in the stadium were completely confused, not sure if it was a prank, a protest, or performance art. In the end, the scoreboard read 149-0, officially recognized as the highest scoring professional match in football history. Of course, the aftermath was wild. The coach of S.O. Lamiran, Ratsamandresi Ratsarazaka, was banned for 3 years, and all starting players were suspended for the rest of the season, some even banned indefinitely. The team was fined and eventually vanished from professional football entirely. And the poor graphics guy in charge of the scoreboard probably had nightmares updating that thing. Next up, we move to England, where Arsenal achieved a record that may never be repeated again: an entire Premier League season unbeaten. During the 2003 to 2004 season, the Gunners played 38 matches, winning 26 and drawing 12, scoring 73 goals and conceding just 26. They were like a storm sweeping through England, unstoppable, unshakable, unbeatable. They had everything: power, speed, skill, chemistry, with legends like Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp, and Patrick Vieira, all led by the Professor, Arsène Wenger. Remember, the Premier League isn't some easy league. Every round is a battle, and even the bottom teams can upset the top ones. That's why this unbeaten record has stood for over 20 years now. In England, they call that legendary squad the Invincibles. To this day, Arsenal fans hold that record like a crown jewel. And let's be honest, probably won't stop talking about it until someone breaks it, which might never happen. Now, let's talk about another legend, Jose Mourinho, the special one. This man didn't just talk big, he backed it up with an unreal 9-year unbeaten home record. From March 2002 to April 2011, Mourinho went 150 consecutive home league games across 4 different clubs: Porto, Chelsea, Inter Milan, and Real Madrid, without a single home defeat. Let that sink in. 3,325 days, no one beat him at home. He started the streak at Porto 2002 to 2004, where he turned a mid-level club into European champions. Then he moved to Chelsea 2004 to 2007, transforming Stamford Bridge into a fortress, 60 home games unbeaten. At Inter Milan, he kept it going, highlighted by that historic treble in 2010. And when he joined Real Madrid, the streak lasted nearly another year before finally ending in 2011 with a 0-1 loss to Sporting Gijón. No other manager in history has come close to a 9-year home league unbeaten run. Love him or hate him, Mourinho truly lived up to the name, the special one. And finally, a record that sounds made up, but it's 100% real. George Weah, the president of Liberia, is the only sitting president to have played in an international football match. If you didn't know, before politics, Weah was a world-class player. He played for Monaco, PSG, AC Milan, Chelsea, and Manchester City, and he even won the Ballon d'Or in 1995, the first and only African player to do so. On September 11, 2018, Liberia held a friendly match against Nigeria to honor him. At first, Weah was just supposed to attend as a guest of honor, but the football spirit took over, and he laced up his boots again at age 51. Wearing his iconic number 14 shirt, he played for 79 minutes, showing flashes of his old magic, with slick touches and moments that brought the crowd to its feet. When he left the pitch, the entire stadium stood and applauded, not just for a football legend, but for a national hero. Nowadays, it's almost impossible to imagine someone balancing both, a successful sports career and the presidency. George Weah truly stands alone in history. And that's it. All the unbreakable football records that still stand strong today. From Messi's 91 goals to Lewandowski's 5 in 9 minutes, from Arsenal's Invincibles to Mourinho's unbeaten fortress, and of course, the wild 149-0 protest game. Each one tells a story of passion, madness, and pure football history. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like, leave a comment with which record amazed you the most, and subscribe for more football stories that prove why this sport is truly the beautiful game.